Hello, to commemorate Equal Pay Day here in the United States, I'm joined by Ana Cristina Zamora, who works on economic violence. Ana Cristina is a 2022 Vital Voices, Voices That Inspire grantee and fellow, and the founder of Isabel, a social impact project in Mexico that focuses on raising awareness around economic violence. Ana Cristina, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you for introducing me and for inviting me to talk about this important issue. I'm very thankful with Vital Voices to trust in young voices.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So as I mentioned, today in the United States, we acknowledge Equal Pay Day, and the day symbolizes how far into the new year women must work to receive the same earnings as men did from last year. And so I wonder if there's a similar day in Mexico, or if not, do you think it would be beneficial for Mexico to have one?
Yeah. Mexico is a country with many holidays. However, we did not find a national equal pay day, perhaps because we have not given the enough importance to the issue of wage gap. And that in fact, we put aside the issue of economic violence. And I believe this is a problem all over the world. We are putting aside this problem. Although there is an initiative by a civil organization in Mexico to acknowledge the Day of Equal Pay, but this has not been formalized. So as I mentioned before, I think that we still need to take importance and become aware to the issue that affects not only women, but also the economy of an entire country. And this is something that I would like to mention later. I really believe that acknowledge the National Day for Equal Pay would add to the fight to make visible and close the wage gap, because it could be a day to raise awareness of the reality in which women live. For example, in Mexico, the wage gap is close more than 18% and represents one of the widest gaps in OECD members country. Women earn up to 27% less than men, and close to 28% of women have experience of economic violence. This is INEGI data. In macroeconomic terms, these figures are alarming. So it seems to me that this should be a teamwork. The government, organized civil society, the private sector, and international organizations to promote the economic independence of women and our participation in the working and economic market.
Thank you for that. Can you touch on the link between gender pay equity and gender-based violence?
Yeah. Before answering, I want to say first that women in the economy are being forgotten. So for us, women, working and being paid a fair wage has become a privilege when this is a right. Although there is a legal recognition of equality between men and women, but this not guarantee equal pay. So when we talk about gender violence, we normally think about physical, verbal, or sexual assaults. But there is also an economic violence and the inequality that persists in the wage gap. The main cause of the wage gap is the discrimination that women experience based on our gender. Companies and society in general have imposed gender roles and attribute certain tasks to genders. In Mexico, for example, only 29% of women are economically independent, according to a survey conducted by INEGI MX called Endire. The salary gap or inequality is considered gender violence because it perpetuates inequality between men and women and reinforces the negative gender stereotypes. In the same way, this economic violence helps other forms of violence to grow, such as workplace violence and domestic violence. I also want to talk about the term feminization of poverty. It calls feminization of poverty because 70% of people in poverty globally are women. So gender gap and the poverty are two interconnected inequalities that violate women's rights. It means poverty increases the gender gap and the gender inequality causes poverty. I think this is a cycle that is necessary to break. Through the world, the patriarchal system and the perpetuation of gender roles foster economic, social, and cultural inequality that generates poverty. For example, labor inequality is one of the main factors that promote the feminization of poverty. And before I said that the issue of the wage gap affects not only women, but also the economy of an entire country, any country. For example, here in Mexico, the unpaid domestic work that it's imposed on women due to gender roles would be the equivalent more than 24% of the gross domestic product, according to INEGI data. It means if women participate at the same time, at the same rate, at the same places as men, the country's per capita income would be 22% higher, according to INEGI data. So women are an important part of economic structure for any country. And reducing the gap would improve gender equality while reducing poverty and stimulating the economy, because since women could spend more, this would increase the tax base and ease some of burden on welfare system. The wage gap does exist, and it's also gender violence.
Thank you for sharing those statistics. It's really good to get a sense of where Mexico is at currently. I know you do amazing work at Isabel. Can you share the motivation behind your work and what keeps you going even in the face of challenges?
Yeah, I have two main motivations. The first one is my mother. She was a great mother. Also, although she had to give up her professional career to dedicate herself totally to me and my brother. And I'm sure that she would have liked to continue practicing her career and being the best lawyer. But for many women, it has become a difficult choice. Following your dreams, following your aspirational, your professional career, or becoming a mother. And the second great motivation is all the other women that surround me, whom I admire very much, because despite the great gaps and difficulties that women experience, they have come out ahead, and I have seen them fulfill their professional dreams and grow in every way. So it's for me and for them that I'm not going to get tired of fighting and making this problem visible. Someone needs to raise their voice and say the wage gap does exist and needs also gender violence, and it's affecting all of us in many ways. Being born a woman should not be difficult. We are not the problem. The problem is the system. And if I, from my privilege, could do something that contributes improving the lives of women, no matter how small the help, I will continue to do so.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I'll end it with, where should people who are interested in this topic go to learn more about it?
Yeah, there are several writings and books on the social media, on internet about gender gap and gender violence. But as an accountant, I like to recommend the reports of the Global Economic Forum. Two books, specifically, such as Women Don't Ask by Linda Backoch and Sarah Lashberg, or the book Who Made Dinner for Adam Smith by Catherine Marshall. And I would like to add another one from a Mexican writer. It's called Rompe la Brecha by Norma Cerros. But I would also like to recommend my project. It's called Isabel because the name of my mother was Isabel. So our main objective is that is to make visible and raise awareness that if there is a gender gap and if there is an economic violence, and help other women discover their power and achieve their economic independence through tools such as mentoring, workshops, consultancies, and accompaniment. At Isabel, we understand that economic independence is difficult to achieve, which is why we provide the necessary legal support. And we also want to work with the public and private sector to create public policies that help to close the gap. Initiatives that actually help to increase the participation of women, because not only that they see us as a gender quota, because we are not just a gender quota, we are women capable of holding a public office, a position in senior management, capable of running a business, keeping accounts, capable of transform the world of science and technology, capable of discover new worlds in art or through the literature. If you can find us, if you want to follow us, you can find us on Instagram as Isabel, Fundación Isabel. So we are made reels, posts, and many activities from there to raise awareness and to make visible this problem.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I've gotten so many good book recommendations, and I know how passionate you are about the work that you do. So thank you for sharing your insights with me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Helen, for inviting me to speak about this important topic. And thank you very much to Variable Says for believing in me and my project, because many times we just need someone who believes in us, and Variable Voices, you and your team offer me that, and I'm very thankful for this. And I hope this information serves to raise awareness.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.